I'm your host, Tiffany Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about revenue plateaus in your business. So most of us have been here, especially if you've been in business for a while. There is typically highs, there's typically lows, and sometimes you just kind of plateau at a specific revenue for a while, right? And there are, specific reasons for this, which we're going to get into today. And a revenue plateau typically looks like, you've been creating consistent 10K months, but it's like just 10K months, right? It's 10K after 10K after 10K. It's not necessarily going down. Maybe sometimes it is, but it's definitely not going up. And that's the thing that is creating the most stress is like, okay, I now am ready for a 20K month. Now I'm ready for a 30K month, but I keep getting these 10K months over and over and over and over and over, or maybe they're starting to decrease. They're going to like 8K, 6K, 5K. What can I do? Right? So that's what this episode is for. This is specifically designed for coaches, service providers, mentors. If you're working with clients, if you're selling offers, one-on-one offers, group offers, courses, then this is for you. Listen up, take notes, and let's get into it. All right. Number one question you want to be asking yourself if you are in a revenue plateau is, what lesson are you meant to be learning right now? Now, this is going to feel a little bit, if you're anything like me, it's going to feel like, okay, but tell me what to do. Like, tell me what's going wrong. Tell me what action to take. I'll go and take it. And a lot of the times, especially since I do attract a lot of action takers, a lot of really ambitious women and just people in my world, which I am as well, I typically just want to get to like, okay, but like, what can I do about it? Like, what should I do this? Should I do that? And it's like, the universe is really bringing you to slowing down and dropping into your body. And typically in the time where you really want to do it the least, right? You're like, oh, but there's more to do. I have to fix this through taking more action, right? Because we're always taught like, do this, take more action. Everything's logical, everything's linear, right? And so when we're in a plateau, we typically are looking at like, okay, what more can I add to my plate? How can I hustle harder, right? What can I do to create more of this? When in reality, what you actually need is to drop in, relax, listen, right? Like take in those lessons from the universe and let them teach you what you need to learn in order to move into your next level of revenue, right? And sometimes it's just about our level of capacity. Like we're barely able to handle the 10K and it's not sustainable and the ways of working are not sustainable. And so in order to move into like 15K months, 20K months, or, as it increases, you have to learn how to cut back a little bit to create more streamlined ways of working and more streamlined ways of creating income versus just burning yourself out. Because if you're attracting 20K, but you can barely handle the 10K, the 20K is going to take you out, babe. It's going to take you right out the game, right? Like it's going to be detrimental at this point. It's going to be like, oh, it's done, right? It is done. If you can barely hit 10K, like hustling, running around, doing all the things, if you're a solopreneur, you haven't hired any help, like the 20K is going to game over. over, right? It's not feasible, right? It's going to break down your mental health. It's going to break down your business. It's going to affect your client results. Like, you don't want any of that to like infiltrate your business. So the biggest thing here is looking at your capacity. What are you able to handle now versus also what are you not able to handle, right? Like, where do you need to expand? Where do you need to create more sustainable ways of working? Where do you need to, hire help, things like that. So what is your current capacity? And is the reason that you are at a plateau and you're not at your next level, is it because you literally cannot handle it because you don't have the capacity to handle it, right? So sometimes it's like we want the 20K month, but like say our one-on-ones are at 5K and we're maxed out, right? Like we are already working with like 6 one-on-one clients, and say like maybe you have kids, whatever, you're busy life, maybe you're still working a job, you can only do 6 clients. That's like your maxity max, right? So if you want to hit that 20K month, either like prices have to go up, or you have to take on more clients, which you might not have the capacity to take on more clients, right? You might have to wait until this current round of clients is done and then open up capacity for however many spots. Maybe at that point you can raise your prices if that feels in alignment to you, if there's enough demand for you to be raising your prices, right? So it's really, there's a lot of things to be thinking about in terms of your capacity. And I don't just mean like the hours in your schedule. I mean, like emotionally, are you able to navigate this, right? Because there are some people where like 4 clients might be their capacity, right? 4 one-on-one clients is more than enough for them, especially if you're already doing like a group program or you have a course or something. That might be a lot. Or if you're like in the place in your business where you are not really doing, like, for example, for me, I'm not really taking on one-on-one clients anymore unless it feels extremely aligned, especially if it's like maybe already someone I've worked with, say in BAA or in my mastermind, or we've been in the same circle, we've had multiple conversations, like I know a bit about your business, it just feels like a super, super aligned fuck yes, then I might, take them on as a one-on-one. I'm thinking maybe moving into 2024, I take in like 1 or 2 aligned clients for the whole year. So we'll see. I'm still kind of playing around with that. I really didn't take on any new one-on-one clients this year because I really wanted to focus on launching. So depending on where you are in your business, there might not be capacity for specific things, specific offers, right? You might be moving from one-on-ones to one-to-many, meaning like you're moving away from just one-on-one coaching to serving a group of people at one time, whether that's a actual group coaching program or that is a program with coaching, or you're running like cohorts or something, right? So you want to look at your capacity. Yes, you're calling in X amount of dollars, but what does that look like exactly in terms of your offers, right? So that's where like some of the pragmatic, practical things come in handy, where it's like you of course can manifest that amount of money, but the money is not going to come through unless like A, you are an energetic match for it, and then B, if you're an energetic match for it and the money does come in, which is amazing, you want to make sure it doesn't take you out of the game, right? So like, for example, when I was first manifesting 6 figures, I'm really glad it didn't come in overnight, because I would have completely fumbled a bag. I probably would have like, just left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, because I would be handling way too many clients at one time, wouldn't be able to deliver on the results. It would just like, people wouldn't have referred me. Like, I get a lot of clients from like word of mouth and, testimonials and amazing client results. I wouldn't have been able to deliver like that, So you want to make sure that whatever you're calling in, you have capacity to hold it, and you're learning whatever lessons you're meant to be learning in this time frame. Okay. So if you are searching for, if you're searching for like more one-on-one clients, you want to make sure that you can actually hold the capacity, and that's something that you are taking into consideration. Yeah, and then number 2 is what have you outgrown? Like, what needs to be, what needs to kind of die and be rebirthed in your business? And this is a really great time to be thinking about that, because we're moving into a new year. We are moving into new cycles, right? We just finished Scorpio season, which is literally death, rebirth, transformation, energy. That's what Scorpio stands for. And so there might be things that came up in your business where you're like, you know what? It's time for this to go. It's time for this offer to go. Like this signature offer that I've been doing for X many years or with this many clients. I love so much. So many clients have gotten amazing results. It's time to let it go. And it's hard to do that, especially like if people are still asking about it and you're still making money from it, right? Like it's really hard to release something like that. But it's also going to prohibit future success in your business, right? Imagine holding on to something in your fridge that is expired. It starts to mold, it starts to smell, right? It's like, oh, you don't want to hold on to that anymore. And now it starts contaminating all of the other foods around it, right? So it's kind of like, a plant that starts, like I'm looking at a couple of plants next to me right now, like a monstera. I have a couple of others. And if there are orange leaves that start to like get really dried up, I immediately pull those out. If I see it, I'm pulling them out and I'm throwing them away because if I have way too many, then it starts to affect the whole plant, right? And then I would have to throw the whole plant away. And I don't want to do that. But if I cut it off at the root and I just throw away a couple of the orange leaves, it's totally fine, right? It might tell me, okay, maybe it needs a little more water. Maybe it needs to be moved to a different area. Right. So like there's still time to save the plant. So it's the same thing for you in your business. When you try to hold on to something that's just, it's like a relationship that like it's coming to an end. And it's so sad because you care about this person so much and you love them deeply and they love you. And maybe there's even nothing wrong with them, like on paper. Maybe it's not like they're extremely abusive or there's anything really like huge red flags. It's just, like you just know that this isn't the person. And the more you try to hang on for sake of being a people pleaser or the sake that you keep gaslighting yourself into like, but there's nothing wrong. It's okay. Like, we're really good friends and like, we've known each other for so long and well, I don't know. Why don't I just stay? Right? What's really happening is you are self-abandoning yourself, right? You are self-abandoning. You are pushing away your own desires and your own intuitive nudges, thinking that somehow things are just going to get better, right? So if there's something in your business that is weighing you down, that is just no longer a energetic match. Sometimes we have to start our businesses in a specific niche or teaching specific things. And then as we grow, our business grows with us. For example, I started as a social media coach, right? But there became a time where I couldn't talk about social media anymore in that way. I couldn't talk about hashtags anymore. I couldn't talk about Instagram growth strategies. I even did Instagram engagement services where I would go in and engage for people so that they can grow their audience organically, all of these things. It was just, I had gotten so tired of it. And I could tell because I would have to drag myself to those client calls. I would have to force myself to talk about Instagram on lives. And I was like, it shouldn't feel like this, right? Like I'm not excited about it anymore. It's weighing me down now. It's taking so much more energy to talk about like one topic, one social media related topic. Whereas in the past, I used to be able to record 4 or 5 videos in one sitting because I just wasn't feeling aligned. My heart just wasn't in it anymore. And I realized that what I really wanted to do was I wanted to be a business coach for coaches. I wanted to serve service providers. I wanted to talk more business strategy, marketing, selling. I wanted to step out of the Instagram game. I was tired of being the one that people asked about hashtags and growing and, growing your following and metrics and how do I get more views and how do I get more likes and what do I put the hashtags in the comment section or in the caption? I was just really tired. I loved it. It was actually the entire reason I started my business. I had a blog all about it. I was asked to speak on stages for it, for the first time. And it really jump started my career. But at a certain point, I had to shift away from it in order to grow. Right. So it's like recognize when something has been outgrown and honor that. Right. There might be an offer, there might be a specific existing business model. There might be, just specific things that you've outgrown doing in your business. And maybe you've tried hanging on to it for far too long. Like maybe you're just kind of dragging it along now, even though it's just not it's not there, it's not alive and thriving, but you're still deeply holding on to it, thinking that if you let go, maybe nothing's gonna lose, maybe nothing's gonna come and replace it. And if there's something that's coming to mind right now, please just honor that. Like, please look into that. Please hold space for that, right? Because there's a lot of different ways. You don't have to immediately release it. You can reframe it. You can shift, you can like rebrand it, right? Give it a new name, maybe upgrade some of the content inside it, especially if it's like a course or something like that, right? Sometimes we create a course and it's been like a year ago now or 2 years ago, and some of the content feels either outdated or maybe is not the way that you would talk about it these days. So maybe it might be time for a nice little refresh, right? Doesn't mean you have to get rid of the entire thing and throw it all out and start from scratch, but take what you've already created and see how you can build on top of that and just give it an upgrade, right? So that's definitely something to think about. And if something's coming to mind as I'm talking about this, that is a nudge from your intuition. So honor that, right? Trust that there's going to be abundance and success that comes in its place when you get rid of something that's unaligned, right? It's just like when I've gotten rid of very unaligned friendships, I've had beautiful, aligned, thriving friendships that are so congruent, that lift me up, that are so supportive in its place, right? And that's a really beautiful thing that the universe brings to us, that our spirit guides and source and God brings to us. When we do get rid of things that are unaligned, we get nourished and replenished with what is aligned for us. All right, number 3 is something is currently keeping you safe and familiar in your comfort zone at this current revenue plateau. So it means that you're just not up leveling the way that you could be and should be. And you are maybe continuing to do things that aren't sustainable or joyful, but you're doing them just because they're bringing in the money, or because your clients are asking for it, or because it feels like something you should do. This is kind of similar to number 2, but it might not have gotten into the outgrown territory yet. It just means like this is something that's keeping you really safe and familiar, and you might want to keep it. It might still be aligned, but there might be other ways of showing up in your business and offering different things that might be even more aligned to you, right? And sometimes there might be ways of working that just feel really unaligned, that feel very unsustainable, that are burning you out, that you keep doing because you feel like it's the only way. So this goes back to our beliefs about working, our beliefs about selling, our beliefs about being in business. I know for myself, I had to rework a lot of these because growing up, I saw my dad constantly working, and even to this day, he'll still be working a lot of the days out of the week, and just working in what I feel like can be very unsustainable ways of showing up in business. And yet, it is just the way that our parents are used to. It is just the way that we've been taught. We aren't taught how to work sustainably. We're taught from a capitalistic, corporate environment that essentially just wants us to get the work done. And the more work we get done, and the more that we finish our projects, and the more that we work, the more time we put in, the more money the business makes. So it's actually in their best interest and in the interest of capitalistic ideals to be working and to attach our worth to our work. And it isn't typically until later, or we hit burnout, or we hit rock bottom, where we realize, I don't want to live like this, right? And sometimes it takes physical symptoms from your body getting sick, navigating dis-ease, and it's very, very, again, unsustainable. This is something I work on with my students inside Magic Mind. 2 of our main theme words are sustainable and joyful sales. It isn't worth it if it's not sustainable, and it's not worth it if it's not joyful, right? Quick short-term wins, or wins that burn you out and don't make you feel good, they're just not worth it in the long run, right? So there is a way of creating sustainable working patterns in your business, focusing on specific areas of focus in your business, and then breaking that down into weekly routines or weekly tasks, and also thinking about your thoughts, your energy in the way that you're working, the beliefs that you're holding in terms of in terms of your business and selling and marketing, right? If you have these thoughts running in the back of your head that it's supposed to be really hard and money only comes from sacrifice and money only comes from suffering, you're always going to perpetuate more suffering, right? For me, a lot of you know my story as a single mom on food stamps, on WIC. I had childcare subsidy taken care of in my life so I can go to school back then. And I made very little money and I could barely make rent sometimes, but yet I worked so hard. And so I always equated like, I'm always gonna, make very little money. At least that's what I used to tell myself. I would always make very little money, but not really have a lot to show for it, work really hard. But of course that's just how it is for everyone. You suffer and suffer and you just make a little bit of money. Money's really easy to spend, but really hard to come by. That was kind of like the mantra I grew up believing in. And I took that with me into the workforce. And it wasn't until I started my own business and I burnt myself out completely and realized, oh, okay, there has to be another way, right? I started to hear people talk about working 4 days a week or even 3 days a week and creating a lot of money and being really successful, learning to delegate, having supportive teams. I was like, wow, there's another way of working. Okay, I gotta look into this, right? Like I really got to take this seriously or this is going to start impacting my health. I wasn't spending enough time with my daughter, right? I was like, there's got to be another way of working. I can't keep doing this. So that's when I started shifting my relationship to work. And now I am one of those people who works 4 days a week. Eventually it might be 3, but I'm really happy at 4 right now. It gives me just enough of the freedom and flexibility I need. And I'm also like, I'm one of those people who I love my work. I love what I do. I love talking with my clients and coaching them in the Slack channel. I love showing up on calls, right? Most of the time work doesn't even feel like work. Of course, there are certain aspects to building a business that aren't always going to feel super fun and easy and rainbows and sunshine. My next episode is going to actually talk about that and some of the, more painful launches I've had this year and some of my lessons in this year, my revenue evaluation. So definitely look out for that episode. I'm going to do a bit of a recap for this year. But, for the most part, I have a very sustainable way of working. When my body tells me, hey, you're tired, go to sleep, close the laptop, I really listen to it. I would say 9 times out of 10, I listen to it. The only times where I am like intentionally hustling, if that's even a thing, is like if I haven't planned well enough and I'm going into a launch and I really need to get some things done that are required of me and I haven't gotten them done ahead of time, whether because of ADHD or something happened, right? And then even then, I take that into future launches and give myself even more time to plan ahead. So I'm always learning lessons. Those have been the only times that I'll kind of push through, finish up the thing, and then go and rest, right? But majority of the time, most of the time on a weekly basis, I'm working, I'm showing up, I'm recording podcasts, things are flowing. I feel like I'm on a really great roll with my content. I'm a content machine, right? I'm attracting in high level, high paying clients. And it's because I'm resting when I need to rest. I'm taking time away from work when I need to take time away. I'm not thinking about work when I'm not working. And I am allowing myself to really show up in the way that feels joyful, that feels sustainable for me, right? So really asking yourself, like, how have you been working? Is your ways of working aligned to the ways that you actually want to be working? And then also, is there something that's keeping you familiar and safe in your comfort zone? Are there things that that you want to shift out of and that you want to up level into, and certain ways of working in your business and your beliefs that you are recognizing are just not going to take you to where you want to go, right? It's like the quote, what got you here is not what's going to get you there, right? Like whatever got you to where you are in your business is amazing. It's incredible, but you might have to show up in a different way, believe specific things about yourself, shift into a higher sense of being in order to get where you want to go, right? This is especially true if like you've hit 6 figures in your business and you're learning to stabilize 6 figures in your business and keep that up sustainably. And you're wanting to to create into, multi six figures. Like there's going to be what created six figures is not going to be what creates multi six figures and seven figures. And so really looking at like what is keeping you safe, what is keeping you familiar? Have you been trying to figure out everything on your own and you haven't hired mentorship, you haven't hired a team, you're trying to kind of do it all on your own? That might be a big reason that your revenue is plateauing, is because you have done everything you can do, which is amazing on your own, but yet you've never been in the multi six figure territory, right? Or maybe if you're reaching six figures and you've been kind of stable at where you are now, but you want to create higher levels of growth, of revenue, of expansion as a CEO in your business, maybe it's time to hire a mentor that has gone before you to help guide you and to also tell you, okay, here is a blind spot. Here's something we can work on together. Why don't we create a custom plan for this, right? Just being able to work hand in hand with you to create the goals that you want to see and fast tracking that, because maybe you get there on your own in like 2 years, right? But working with a mentor can help you reach your goals in, say, 1 year, right? So there's so many beautiful things that you can take a look at and see, like, what is keeping you safe? What is keeping you familiar? What are some things that are showing up for you in your reality that maybe it's time to shift out of? Maybe it's time to, grow out of. And what are some things, some aligned actions that you feel called to? Okay, number 4 is sales entitlements. I've talked about this here and there. And again, I'm going to talk a lot about this inside my next episode, where I kind of recap some of my launches throughout this year. And I talk about how sales entitlement actually almost cost me an entire launch. So, entitlement in sales looks like, oh, the sales should already be here. Or like, last launch did really well. This launch should be exactly the same. Just, either rinse and repeat or just, think the same things. And sometimes what that can do is it can really get us out of creating intentional, deliberate actions, right? Sometimes we even forget specific actions just because we think it's done. It'll just keep happening, right? Last month was 10K. It should be 10K again this month, right? And if you've been in business for a while, you might compare to last year's revenue. Like, oh, last year in November or last year in December, it was, this amount of money. And so I should make this amount of money this month as well. And then just expect it to come without actually doing the same level of work to maintain it. When I first started my business, I was so like, not the first few months, because I definitely burnt out for a bit. I didn't know anything about manifestation until I burnt out. And then I was like, okay, there's got to be a different way. And then I learned about manifestation and I was on fire, y'all. Like I filled up notebook after notebook. I was journaling. I spent so much of my time like learning and executing like manifestation techniques. I created 30K months, 50K months. Like I was on fire in my business. I was doing incredible work. And then after a while, I was just like, okay, I know all of this now. I know how to manifest. I've done the things. And I just expected the money to just flow in after that without me actually maintaining that groundwork that I had built my business on, right? And to a certain extent, yes, things do compound. It does get easier over time, right? Like it felt like a lot of work for me to sell like my $1,000 one-on-one offer. And right now my prices are at 20K for working with me one-on-one. And my mastermind is at 10K for now. Will likely go up soon. But that's where my prices are now. And it feels super aligned, super effortless, really, I don't know if I would say easy to sell, but really, really aligned to sell. And I don't have to sell myself on the pricing, at least, right? Like the pricing feels really good because I've worked my way up to this. However, there's a certain level of maintenance that just comes with having a business. It's kind of like, okay, the house is starting to get really, cluttered again. It's not like you can clean it so well that it never gets dirty again. It's never that we can like eat enough food to where we never have to eat again, right? Or that like we buy enough groceries that we never have to buy groceries again. Like we need to create a level of maintenance in our business and in our lives. And sometimes what I think happens with coaches that I see and students I have is like they create a certain level of revenue and they expect it to just be like that all the time because they've created it once and it's like, all right, one and done. I'm good. I'm chilling. I've done it. I've created the hard thing. Let's go. And then they start getting really confused as to why their numbers start dropping is because now it's almost like I said, entitlement. It's like a level of entitlement, which is like, I should just get this now. But when you created it that first time, you created it not knowing you would have that result. You created it in hopes of creating that result, right? So we have to go back to those same energies of like, all right, this like not ever expecting like clients owe us anything. Even when like a client tells me I am planning to like rejoin the next round of Magic Mind, I'm never like holding them to that and banking on that. And then if they don't end up renewing, then feeling extremely like devastated by that. I might be sad and disappointed because I'm human and I love my clients so deeply and I love working with them, but I never feel like I'm owed their investment, right? I never feel like I'm owed that level of like it's up to them. Like I see my clients as they have their own autonomy and they get to make the best decisions for them in their business, right? Will I feel sad about it? Of course I will, right? But at the same time, it's like I don't own them. They're not my clients, right? Like even if I see one of my students in the past like decide to work with another coach after me, I don't make it mean like, oh, that coach is better than me. What do they have that I don't? I just realized that okay, my work with them has concluded for now, and now they're getting what they need over there from that coach, right? Of course, does it sting a little bit? Does it hurt a little bit? Yeah, I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. I care a lot about my students. And so, of course, I have emotions that I'll process on my own. But at the end of the day, I don't feel entitled to my students, right? Just because they're here for this round doesn't mean that they're owed, joining round after round after round. That's still a decision they have to make and something I still have to sell them on. So I never think anymore that the sales should just be here, right? Like again, I'll go into more in depth, like what I was experiencing with one of my launches about sales entitlement and feeling like like, oh, it went so well the first two rounds, it should just be exactly the same. There's a lot we can learn about our thoughts and the way we show up in our business, right? So just checking in, like, where are you having sales entitlement? Are you expecting certain launches to just go the way they've always gone and then not really put in intentional, deliberate planning and executing and working ahead of time, maybe writing your emails ahead of time and really selling, right? Like maybe you have an event and you just expect everyone to know about your offer, so you don't really sell it and you just expect people to just sign up, but yet you don't really actively tell them about, hey, here is the link right here. I'm sending it straight to your inbox. You just expect people to find it in the link in your bio and go through a couple of links to find that link and to apply. Like, there are always going to be people who, cross the water and cross to come and find us. But wouldn't it be so much easier if we always put up a bridge so that it's easier for them to cross that bridge? Wouldn't it be easier if we always had like some way of like some plank that we give them across the water? So it's always easy. Hey, here's the link. Hey, here's everything you need to know about this program. Hey, here are all the details. Would you like to join me? Right? Making it really easy for people to join rather than expecting they should just be here. They should just know by now. I've talked about this like 10, 20 times. They should just know this program. But what about the brand new person that just found you yesterday that could be an absolute fuck yes for the program that knows nothing about it, and yet you're talking about it and referring to it and they have no idea what it is, right? Or the people who just because of the freaking algorithm haven't been seeing your posts, but they're an amazing aligned client would love to work with you, right? So just getting rid of that entitlement, getting rid of that sales entitlement in our business and seeing when that kind of sneakily comes up. Just because we had an amazing year last year doesn't necessarily mean that our year is going to look just like that, right? And not coming from a place of fear or scarcity, but coming from a place of like, I'm in control. This is my business. I created that year last year. I can create it again. It's not expected. It's not owed. It's not, written in stone, but I know how to create it. And in fact, I can create an even bigger year because now I know more. Now I have more data. Now I'm a more seasoned CEO, right? So coming from a place of power, empowerment, coming from a place of loving your business and loving what you do, then you get to show up in your business as a more knowledgeable CEO. And the very last thing is maybe you need to hire a team. When you've gotten to the point of solopreneurship where you are wearing all the hats, you are the accountant, you're the marketer, you're the salesperson, you're the graphic designer, you are the admin, you are the online business manager, you're doing all the things. I would highly recommend just onboarding a virtual assistant, just a contractor, and having them for maybe just start with like 5 hours a week, right? Doesn't need to be anything crazy. Start them off for 5 hours a week and just see if this is going to, it 100% will help you to navigate some of the things in your business. Because what ends up happening is all the tasks that we're like, oh, I got it. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it'll just take 5 minutes. It's like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes there. And it's not just that, like, it maybe is just 5 minutes, right? Which a lot of times it turns into like 30 minutes. And then I have to respond to this email and then I have to do this. And then this person didn't get, oh, you're like in customer service, you're in all of the admin tasks. Say that it really is just 5 minutes here and there. It is the energetic expense, right? It's an energetic it's you're losing your energy, like the energy that you could have spent going on live for an hour, attracting, magnetizing, fuck yes clients, connecting with your people, like loving what you're doing, like speaking from the heart, going, doing your thing, like being on live, speaking from your frequency, selling your program. You're instead in your emails going like this. Okay, oh no, this person can't get their login. Oh my gosh, this client asked for a refund. What do you mean? Like why? Oh no, and now I don't have a protocol for this. Okay, let me just let me see if they want to get on a call for, okay, let me try this. You're giving away so much of your precious energy versus if you have a virtual assistant and you tell them, okay, this is how we respond to this type of email. If this comes in, this is the template we send out. If this comes in, here's how you get them their login and password information. If we get this in the DMs, here's how I want you to respond. If we get this in the emails, this is how I want you to respond. So you essentially clone what can be cloned from you, and then you get to focus on the things that can't be cloned. Nobody else can do your live streams for you. No one can do your master classes for you. Nobody can coach your coaching calls for you, right? So you have to focus and show up in those areas where you're needed the most in order to save your time and energy. And of course, you can get to a point where you also delegate, maybe some coaching calls. You have a co-coach, you have someone helping you in some of those areas. But what I'm talking about is like the person who absolutely needs to hand things over to a team, like a simple virtual assistant, and be conscious about, like, I can do an entire other episode on like hiring, and let me know if you'd want that, DM me. But you want to eventually transition that VA into an online business manager, right? Or hiring a actual online business manager if you don't see your VA shifting into that role over time. And then they kind of are the integration, because then over time you might oversee a couple of contractors, such as graphic designer, ads, podcast manager, and then your OBM, your online business manager, would oversee those relationships and help them make sure that they're on their tasks. So you're not having to play manager and make sure, oh, this podcast, okay, this needs to be edited. Oh, this needs to be up by this deadline. Oh, okay, is my OBM finishing up with this? And then, oh, this other person, like, you're not the one having to manage everything. You have an online business manager who helps handle your other contractors as well, so that you can be in your CEO visionary role, right? You're not meant to be in the admin. You're not meant to be in the back end. You're meant to delegate those tasks out so that you can focus on what you do best: coaching, selling, showing up, going on live, creating content, all of those things that, it's going to be harder for other people to do because you're the one who's meant to be doing it. All right. That is all I want to share with you today. I hope this episode was, I know that this is going to be so powerful for the person who really needs to hear it, who is at a revenue plateau in their business. Last thing I want to say about teams is don't think of hiring someone onto your team as an expense. It's not an expense. It is actually profit generating. It's revenue generating, right? Because when someone is working for you and you're building out a team and you're learning how to step up as a CEO, as a leader, you're as your business grows, you're going to continue having a bigger and bigger and bigger team. Right? You're just going to have more people to hand off more tasks to, and you're going to end up being a really powerful CEO and leader. This is something that you want, like you'll know when you're ready. Like when you are the one handling multiple tasks to a point where you're like, you don't really have like SOPs for handling things. You don't have like someone to help you with responding to emails, right? And you're like having to come up with new protocols all the time and new ways of handling things. And it's causing you more stress because you don't have an SOP for client refunds, for example. You don't have an SOP for, reaching out for like people to be on your podcast or something, right? So you're coming up with new things every single time, and that's a really unsustainable way of working. So instead of seeing it as like, I don't want to spend money on a virtual assistant, think about how much money you could be making with a virtual assistant helping you out, right? Energy is so important. And when you are spending all of your time and expending all of your energy on tasks that are weighing you down, it prevents you from making the amount of money you could be making in your business. So I hope that each one of these pointers helps you to see how you could be making more money in your business just through implementing these things. All right. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a 5-star review. Let me know your thoughts. It just means so much. And it also helps other women entrepreneurs, women of color, coaches, and service providers to also receive this support. So you're paying it forward. And that's a really beautiful thing to do. And it lets me know what's working and that you all are enjoying specific episodes. And that means a lot to me. So I really appreciate that. If you want to dive into this work deeper, then the perfect place for you is inside my business mastermind, Magic Mind. This is a 6-month mastermind for spirit-led coaches and healers and service providers to grow to 6 figures and multi-6 figures in their business. So Magic Mind is going to open for official enrollment in February. So mark your calendar. It's going to be in February from February 12th to 16th, Monday to Friday is going to be the open enrollment dates. So you can join the waitlist in the show notes. You can also chat with me if you know that you want to be in now. And I cannot wait for this next round of Magic Mind. We're already getting incredible results in this round. And there's just beautiful things that I've implemented with workbooks and different trainings to really support you as you continue to grow. So make sure you're on the wait list for Magic Mind and apply when applications open in February. And other than that, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.